Hey everybody, I'm just touching back with you all following my last video when I was talking about the impact lack of care was having on us as a family. Since my last video, I've been liaising quite a lot with continuing care, with our social care, lots of professionals involved with Sophie's care really, and making sure she's, safe and well at home and able to be involved with school and her friends and after school clubs and everything that comes with being your average 10-year-old. I've said it before, it should never stop just because Sophie has a disability or a complex medical need. But I wanted to really talk and to feed back to everybody with this particular video, because obviously I'm fighting for Sophie's needs and making sure she gets what she needs to be able to live a happy life and a healthy life. But since I've been doing all this sort of research and looking into what should be provided and at times obviously isn't provided, I've been speaking to lots of families and it's really quite saddening. I've had a lot of feedback over the last 2 weeks really. And obviously I'm not going to go into names and specific details because that wouldn't be right. But I just wanted to try and give a few examples of families and what they're going through really. So we've said before, our family isn't unique. It's not just us. There are thousands of families that are facing the same battles. So just to kind of touch upon a few of them, one family I know, for instance, had been informed that her carer was poorly, so they were without care for an evening. To which the family then, because obviously it goes without saying, there are relationships that are built up with carers and they become friends, and so the family had contacted the carer to wish her well and hoping she was okay, but had then been informed that actually the carer wasn't unwell. It had been that the agency had removed the carer from the family on that particular occasion to work for another package, but hadn't informed the family. So for me, that's quite, that's an obvious lack of communication breakdown, and they shouldn't be doing that, because the family ultimately, if a carer is booked in with that particular family because that child has needs, then the carer should be there and the agency should be seeing to that. And then there's been another family that there is one particular carer that is due to go on maternity leave. The agency have known for an awful long time, we're talking 9 months, they've known for a long time that that carer will eventually be leaving and going on maternity leave. So they've had ample time to find a replacement, to train a carer and to help keep supporting the family in need. This carer has now gone on maternity leave and they have not filled the space with a carer. So this family in particular is now going to be at crisis point and is without the care that they need for their child. There are other packages where we know the packages are not being met at all. They have an assessed need. They are entitled to a set amount of hours every week from continuing care, but the agencies are not fulfilling the packages and cannot fulfill them with said amount of carers. Why these things keep happening, it is a minefield. I do not know. For me, when I look into this and when I read the continuing care framework, there are obviously certain policies and certain procedures that agencies should be following. When you look through it and try and look at it in black and white and to simplify it, to me it seems as though these procedures are not being followed. Decisions are being made that are not for the continuing care framework. So it's a really, really sad state of affairs, and I really feel I'm worried for a lot of the families. Obviously we worry about ourselves and the positions that we're put in when the impact is huge, but I can quite openly, as I'm doing now, quite openly voice my concerns and talk about it, but there are lots of families that can't and won't, and then face crisis point. So somebody has to be accountable. Why is this not being brought up? Why is this not being focused on? Why are these changes not being made? And it's with that why I've really done this video, because obviously everybody's aware of the campaign and the Not a Nurse Book campaign, and I think one of the things that we're going to be focusing on with the continuing care is where things are going wrong. Obviously we want to talk about best practice and where it's going right, so that we can then replicate what's working in some counties and how we get that replaced into other counties. But it's really important that the lid is lifted somehow, and so that families and society, professionals, decision makers government members are aware of where things are going wrong in local facilities in the local areas, because it is just diabolical. It really is quite scary, the pressure and the impact that is put upon families, and for the most part nobody hears about it, nobody knows about it, and we, the families, are expected to just carry on as normal, you know. And for those families, somebody actually said to me the other day, because we do provide good care for our daughter, it's almost as though we make the professionals' job easy and they allow us to carry on doing that, so they don't feel that we need additional carers or additional support. How is that right? That's ridiculous. You know, it's not about what we're doing, it's about my daughter's assessed needs. If she's assessed for continuing care and she needs carers, that service should be provided. Just because we look as though we're managing, that is never an excuse to say, oh, okay, we'll leave that family to it then, they look like they're coping. That's ridiculous. And again, you know, that will happen to other families. So something definitely needs to be done about it. And you know, for fear again going on a rant, it's just something that I'm quite passionate about, and I think people do need to be aware of it, because the more, you know, the longer we go on and it's not discussed, it's not highlighted, the longer families are then potentially left at risk, and then it becomes a safeguarding issue. Families reach crisis point, things break down and lead on to further problems. So we need to try and get this right now. You know, and again, we're not nurses, but I want to, at this point in time, I want to be able to help other families so they do not reach crisis point.